So, whenever any player gets in trouble, any player is accused of anything, you have to always remember, again, it is always innocent until proven guilty. Right? So, at the end of the day, a lot of times players get charged with things. Not always. Some players are guilty. Sometimes players get charged with things because they have a lot of money, their celebrity status, and everybody wants a part of that. So, sometimes they get accused of things that simply aren't true just for that said reason. Well, this is the second time this court case is being talked about against Joe Mixon. This was talked about on February 2nd, and now it's being brought back into the attention because the person accusing him refiled their lawsuit. Let's talk about it. So, back on February 2nd, this is all alleged. There was a road rage incident where Joe Mixon pointed a weapon at a woman during a road rage issue. And there was also claims, allegedly, that he said he's a football player, he won't get in trouble, nothing will happen to him. And he ended up pointing a weapon at this person. Later that same day, this was let go. It was wiped out of the court system. Nothing happened. Charges were dropped. There was speculation, rumors that he paid the person off. Whatever. We moved on with our lives. We talked about other things. Obviously, right after this was when the situation at his house where a kid was shot by somebody from his house and ended up being allegedly his sister or his boyfriend. It has been a mess for the last couple of months with Joe Mixon. Okay? We can't sit here and say it hasn't been a mess. But a lot of these things, and really in the end, if you go through them, okay, well, the pointing the gun at someone, that was dropped. Okay. Then the house incident, he wasn't even home. The guy wasn't even home. He was on vacation. Okay, so that's dropped. Now we're bringing up the gun thing again. It's not a good look. So, the aggravated menacing charges were refiled Friday. It's a misdemeanor of the first degree, the most serious level of misdemeanor. Mixon has been summoned to appear in court on April 19th. So, I want to, as I always say, until we have concrete proof that he did something, innocent until proven guilty. This decision was reached following the discovery of new evidence during the investigation process. A statement from Cincinnati police said, to preserve a fair and impartial judicial process for all parties involved, no investigatory details or evidence will be disclosed outside of official court proceedings. The Bengals released a statement Friday saying the club is aware of the misdemeanor charges have raised against Joe Mixon. Club is monitoring the situation and will not comment further on this time. The thing is, right, when Joe Mixon first got accused of this, since he didn't really say anything, when they got accused of the whole house incident, Cincinnati was very quiet. Now they're speaking up. And you know the motto, right? Whenever there's smoke, there's fire. That's the motto in life. That's not good. Because at the end of the day, we know what happened. Besides, Cincy knows what happened. Okay? The police knows what happened. Us fans, we don't know what happened. We only know what we're being told and what we're reading. They know what happened. The Cincinnati Bengals already have all the information. In February, Mixon was accused of pointing a gun at a woman during a road rage incident. Mixon was second in Walnut Street at the banks of 12:49 p.m. January 21st, shortly before he was due at Paycor Stadium, where the team was gathered to leave for the playoffs game in Buffalo. A warrant was issued, making national news, but the charges were immediately dropped so the police could do further investigation. Joe Mixon, prosecutor dropped charges against Joe Mixon, but police say investigation was ongoing. The prosecutor said charges would be refiled, and the said woman who made the complaints indicated she would go further with the case. Police Chief Teresa Thetis said at the time the investigation was not finished and there was new pieces of evidence. The case was assigned to a new investigator. Obviously, who is Joe Mixon? We know who Joe Mixon is. Sheriff man arrested in Anderson shooting at Joe Mixon's house. So the person was arrested who did shoot the kid at Joe Mixon's house. Is alleged to have shot a kid with an AK-style weapon. First off, why? I'm not even going to get into that whole debate of guns, okay? I'm not going to. But why did that person at Joe Mixon's house have an AK-style weapon? And they shot a kid with that? And not one time, guys. This was 8 times. The person shot at the kid 8 times. Fallout from February incidents following Cincinnati Bengals running back Joe Mixon. In the weeks since the downtown Cincinnati case became public, the Inquirer reviewed 4 video recordings provided by Joe Mixon's agent, Peter Schaffer. They also show Joe Mixon driving downtown when the incident was alleged to take place, but do not show the incident itself. The point where Joe Mixon reaches 2nd and Walnut is too far to glean what, if anything, happened. There are 2 cameras at the 2nd and Walnut Street, a Cincinnati transportation camera, and a Cincinnati crime camera. City officials, after the Inquirer made a public request seeking the footage, says neither camera was operational at the time. Come on. Stop it. You're telling me neither camera was accessible at the time that the crime happened? Come on now. Show us the camera. Show us the footage. What happened? Cincinnati police detectives who filed the original Cincinnati charge was rescinded. Jeff Ruberg was disciplined with a written reprimand for not following a direct issued by his immediate supervisor. Ruberg has been reassigned to a patrol position. Cincinnati Police Union President Dan Hills told the Inquirer. So I think that case right there, this one right here, is the house one. Because I actually read an article about this. The police officer who did the whole, house thing where they entered his house, that person has been reassigned. Joe Mixon incident at Oklahoma. Obviously, you guys did not know, yes. At Oklahoma, Joe Mixon punched a girl in the face. He broke multiple bones in the woman's face after he punched her at a restaurant. Joe Mixon struck her and Joe Mixon struck her after she shoved and slapped him. I believe, allegedly, he was trying to hit on her, and it didn't go well. She slapped him, and he knocked her teeth in. It's a horrendous act by Joe Mixon, and it's the reason why he did not go first round, and why he dropped to the second round, was because of that reason. In October of the year, Joe Mixon entered what's called an Afro plea to assault charges. The Afro plea allowed Mixon to proclaim innocent, yet acknowledge the evidence for a conviction. If the case went before a jury, Mixon would be given a 1-year determined sentence in order to undergo counseling and do 100 hours in community service. Listen. What happened. Okay? What we know right now is, obviously, the past is the past. What happened with him punching the woman. What happened at his house. And now, what happened with a driving situation. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. And they didn't say in this article, but I did read somewhere that he apparently told the woman that hey, listen, I'm a football player. I think I'm going to put it on the channel too. I'm a football player and I don't have to, do whatever. I don't have to listen to you. I'll get away with it, whatever. And again, like I said, there was alleged claims that he paid off the girl. Based on this article, it looks like there was actually no paid off. There was no chance of being paid off because they was going to pick up the case right after, later on once there was more evidence. I think Cincinnati needs to cut him. I think Cincinnati does need to eventually move on from him. Clean the slate and do something else. He's not what Who Dey Nation represents. And I say that because the only reason I'm even hesitant about this is because he's not fully guilty. He's not. He's not fully guilty. There is still a sliver of doubt that this did not happen. But this is just one thing after another, after another, after another. You're going down a slippery slope. You're getting to a point where this is just an avalanche of a snowball. And it's going down the hill and it's getting bigger and bigger. At what point does this become an avalanche? It sucks. Because if someone is falsely accused of something, they should not be demonized or they should not get in trouble for it. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, the incident happened at his house. While it was messed up, there is, people say, hey, listen, that was his house. That was his home. If something happens at your house, you're responsible for it. Did he punch that girl in college? Yeah, he did. He punched her, knocked out her teeth. That's two things he did by himself. His own actions. Number 3, obviously, this situation right here. There's more evidence. There's evidence against the guy. Cincy, caught him. Caught him, save $8 million, and let's move on to the next season. See you guys next one. Peace out.